Hey everyone, so I finally did it. I finally made that Aphrodite statue, and yes, just like 90% of her statues, she is completely in the nude, and yes, I put pubes on there. And I realized that the ancient Greeks might have been afraid of vaginas. Let's get started with the video. So yeah, when looking up statues of Aphrodite or Venus, they're kind of the same. I will always say Roman mythology is Greek mythology, copy-pasted with some additions. When looking up Aphrodite statues or Venus statues or even paintings of Venus, mostly Venus because I don't know, in the Renaissance they were closer to like statues of Venus because that started in Italy, so they have more of an association with Venus instead of Aphrodite. In a lot of statues of Aphrodite or Venus, she's basically Barbie doll smooth down there. I'm definitely on some kind of watch list because I'm zoned in on the vagina or genital area of Aphrodite statues. Yeah, I was kind of like, they never really sculpted vaginas. But then at the same time, like, look at any statue of like a male god or just a statue of a male. There's just dicks, dongs and junk flopping around there. Like there's even these ancient Greek road markers called herms, I think. Again, don't think anything that I say do your own research is basically what I want to say, but there were these ancient road markers that were called herms, and they were associated with the god Hermes, which makes sense because Hermes was the god of travelers and traders and such things, and also thieves, because of course. And then, yeah, those herms, a lot of them had dicks sculpted on them. So the ancient Greeks found every place to be appropriate to place a dick on, but none of them or none of the Aphrodite statues had sculpted vaginas. And I'm actually basing this statue I'm basing it kind of like on the painting of the Bird of Venus by Botticelli. I'm probably not pronouncing his name correctly, but he's dead for at least, I would say, 500 years, so I don't think he cares. But I've based this statue on that painting, mostly in like the hair department and such. But then when it came to the actual physically accurateness of it, I was thinking like, should I build an accurate vagina? Well, I found this one statue on which the paint hadn't worn off, and this is also your friendly reminder to realize that most ancient Greek statues or most ancient Roman statues were at one point painted. So yeah, don't think that in the time of the ancient Greeks or Romans that they had these marble, like white statues everywhere. That's just how they are now. At one point they were painted, and I would say in most cases be happy that the paint had worn off, because they break this idea of how you imagine the ancient Greeks to see their statues or Romans. And it might be a little bit disturbing because some of them remind me of the masks that they used in the ancient Greek theater, which were really disturbing. So having the statues even vaguely remind me of that just traumatizes me. But anyway, I found one statue of Aphrodite on which the paint hadn't really worn off, and she had pubes painted on her. There wasn't any sculpted vagina as far as I know, or as far as I've seen, because let's just say it was weird doing the research for this video. But then I just decided, alright, at the end of the day, these statues are kind of like balloon figures, because most of the pieces are like, can't really make it smooth. Then I thought like, yeah, I could make a vagina. It could turn out really well. Could also look like a diseased bulbous thing, which I don't think anybody wants to see. Yeah, it's like, well, the same could happen easily with like a dick, because, well, most of the pieces that I've used are rounded, so it might look like they're bulbs and boils. So I just decided, alright, let's go for the statue on which there's just pubes painted on. So at one point it's actually just one piece that's perfectly like, well, in this case it really helps that I've made these statues colorized. I still have to colorize the statue of Poseidon and Hades. However, back then I was dumb, and every of those statues is one like building or one group, whereas with the Aphrodite and Persephone statues, all of like the articles of clothing are different groups. So if I want to paint one thing, I can just select that group and paint it or color it, and it doesn't affect the whole statue. With Poseidon and such, I have to like basically take apart those statues to really paint them. So that's been a big hurdle, or like, I'm going to do that later. But anyway, when it comes to the Aphrodite statues, because I should talk about statue, I built feet. Because she's completely in the nude, so I can't get away with like, oh, not doing her feet. Like, I really wanted to hide her feet behind a rock. Because also, like, this Aphrodite statue is completely new territory for me. Because first of all, I had to sort of make an accurate body, because I so far not built accurate legs. But I also had to make accurate feet, and then also, she isn't in the position that I usually build my statues. Most of my statues are like either seated or at least in some kind of upwards pose, like they're standing or seated or, you know, upwards pose. However, with this Aphrodite statue, I wanted her to kind of lounge, and so I had to do that. However, luckily, when it comes to building these statues, I've started to make them maybe physically accurate enough that I can bend them in a physically accurate way. Like, if I bend a statue at the knee, or at least the statues that or statue of Aphrodite that I've built now, if I bend it at the knee, it actually looks normal. It doesn't look like it's like I've broken her legs. And also, yes, I've used the arms of the Persephone statue, because here I also made it accurate enough that if I bend it at the elbow to like get a certain pose, it doesn't look like I've broken her arm. It looks accurate enough that it works. And yeah, at this point I didn't put the pubes in yet. I'm still like, well, I think actually the vagina, just because of the pose, is kind of hidden, maybe? I don't know. As I've said, I'm definitely on some kind of watch list right now. Like, the friendly FBI guy that's, you know, watches everything that I do on my PC is definitely traumatized by my search history. Like, there's so many Aphrodite and Venus statues, and then there's also search for like poisons and how high do you need to be to die from falling. Yeah, I at one point was curious if a fall from any of the islands in Kayan al-Bashar would actually kill you. So yeah, I've definitely traumatized my friendly FBI guy, and for some reason I just think of him as a Dylan. So let's just say I've put Dylan in a mental hospital, and his successor, Mark, is on the verge of being sent to a mental hospital because, oh god. And here I'm trying to build a seashell because, well, this statue is inspired not just by that painted statue of Aphrodite, but also by the Bird of Venus by Botticelli, so that Renaissance painting. Well, Aphrodite in mythology is supposed to be, oh boy, born from the sea foam that arose from the junk of Kronos being thrown into the ocean. Because, well, it might not be Kronos. I always get the names wrong when it comes to the gods before Zeus. But let's just say Kronos ate all of his kids, so that's like Poseidon, Demeter, Hades, Hera, Hestia. Are there more? No, I think there's... yeah, I think I'm correct with that. And then Zeus came along, made Kronos barf up all of his brothers and sisters, and then, yeah, sliced off Kronos' dick and balls, threw them in the ocean, and from the sea foam that came from those, well, from Kronos' junk being thrown in the ocean, Aphrodite arose. So even in the story of the goddess of love, beauty, and the goddess that's always in the nude, and, you know, the female goddess, basically, junk is such an important thing there, or at least a dick and balls, because she wouldn't be there if that didn't happen. It's Greek mythology is all kinds of strange. It's funny to read, but then if you look closely at it, it's just like, why? How? Oh my god, my eyes. Yeah. Anyway, so in this statue, I wanted to kind of like, because I'm also trying to reference Botticelli's painting of the Bird of Venus, in which she's standing on this shell. She's also not clothed there, but her hair is hiding the vagina. What do we have against vaginas? Because that's Renaissance, that's not ancient Greek. And ancient Greeks just love dicks. But yeah. Anyway, but this version, her hair isn't hiding anything. Because I don't know how to explain this video. But yeah, she's just completely in the nude. I just took references of the hair and like the seashell that Aphrodite was standing on in the painting. So I tried to, well, here's the funny thing. I tried to have her hair to be kind of like, I don't know, but like a lot of female statues, like ancient Greek goddess statues, have like their hair in like updo. A lot of Aphrodite statues do this as well. However, I tried to do that, but also have like the Botticelli hair. And for some reason, I just thought of the Jersey Shore. So I removed that kind of ball thing that had to resemble kind of like an updo and then the hair flowing out from that, because it just reminded me of the Jersey Shore. This was really interesting to build. But yeah, the seashell was just like, I wanted to make this into like a fountain, and I just wanted her, or I wanted Aphrodite to lounge and pull down the seashell, and then all of this water comes out, which, yeah, at this point I haven't actually put the pubes in, but a lot of it is actually still kind of hidden by the waterfall. But this pose was just interesting and actually fun to build, because as I said, all of my statues so far are in some way in a standing position or an upwards position, and then Aphrodite just completely breaks that. Yeah, after this I just want to build a Hera statue. Hera's not going to be in the nude. Like, you're not going to do that to the Queen of Olympus or the Queen of the Gods. Like, this is just, it's kind of, Greek mythology is just weird. Because like, Zeus is like the biggest cheater. But then if you look at Hera in just the right way or just the wrong way, Zeus will burn you. Like, he will send lightning down at you. So he's just like, yeah, I can cheat, but Hera, you can't even look at her in any kind of suggestive way. Aphrodite, well, she's the goddess of beauty, but if you are even somewhat a pretty mortal, she will be angry at you. So she is also, I want to say she's also the goddess of insecurity. Because, oh, there's so many stories of Aphrodite being jealous of a mortal woman for being even a little bit pretty. And then there's just, oh, at this point I did put the pubes in. Sorry, I had to mention that. I mean, this video, if this video doesn't get demonetized, I will eat a shoe. Well, not a shoe, because they don't really taste that good. I will eat a are there candy chew, or not candy chews, but like candies in shoe form? I don't know. But yeah, this video, if it doesn't get demonetized, then I will just count myself as immune to demonetization, because I've been talking about, well, basically every minute vaginas or a cock or junk has come up. So if this video doesn't get demonetized, nothing on this channel will. But yeah, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, Aphrodite is the goddess of insecurity as well. Like, there's so many stories of Aphrodite being jealous or in any kind of way. Like, you basically can't refuse Aphrodite anything, because if you like refuse the advances of Aphrodite or like the flirtations of Aphrodite, she's going to be insulted. And yeah, like, she was actually like, if you were like devoted to Artemis, who was like a virgin goddess, so there was of course going to be a little bit of resentment between Aphrodite and Artemis. But if you devoted yourself to Artemis and like swore off man, or I think there's even one story of a man devoting himself to Artemis and swearing off women and basically all kinds of sex, then Aphrodite wouldn't be pleased. Like, nope, not at all. The easiest gods to get along with would probably be like Hades, Persephone, maybe Athena, but then Athena can be kind of arrogant. The worst gods or goddesses to get along with are probably Zeus, because he's a massive dick, Poseidon, because he's a massive dick, and Aphrodite, because she is just like, Aphrodite is just Aphrodite. Like, Aphrodite can't really be explained. Anyways, should I talk more about the build? Because I wanted to, like, I don't know actually what I want to have with the Aphrodite build in the way of an animal. Because I was thinking like, oh, clouded leopard. Because Aphrodite is definitely a cat person. Like, she's not a dog person. Like, she's a cat person. Like, without a doubt. Like, she's a cat person. Let's just keep it at that. But then I thought like, oh, but I want something with like this water feature. Like, I want the animals to like swim and maybe dive in the water feature because, well, there's a massive fountain, so I wanted to make like a big water feature. And then I thought like, alright, which animals could work with that? I don't think Aphrodite, like alligators or crocodiles, it just doesn't fit with me. And then I thought, can an African penguin be dangerous? Like they are a bird, so they can peck at you, maybe bite you. And Aphrodite is associated with doves, so she is associated with birds. So then I thought like, oh, maybe African penguin. Also, at the end of the day, we aren't building a habitat today. I should probably have said that in the beginning. Let me know what animal you would put with Aphrodite, because I'm still thinking clouded leopard, just because Aphrodite is just, she is a cat person. There's no doubt about that. But I also want to do something with a water feature, which might mean African penguin, or just normal penguin. But I think African penguin. Because I don't think Aphrodite would like it in the snow because she's nude, so yeah, she might find it a little bit cold. The pubes that I put on there might freeze. This video is... It's amazing for me to do the voiceover for, but it's probably going to be the worst thing to edit. Well, I don't censor anything, so... Again, I'm immune to the monetization. But here is also a sort of, how do you call it? A reference to the previous video, which was the tutorial on domes, but this build, or at least the thing that I'm building right now, is completely the same technique as building the domes. It's just building one thing, like one little thing, and then rotating it around. So you can use that technique for basically anything. Also, I wanted to make like this big gate into this. Like, I don't know what to call this. I would say it's like the Temple of Aphrodite, but I think it would be a little bit bigger than just this. But I wanted to make like a big entrance into this. And then I decided, but it's going to like screw up the sidelines. You know, it's going to blur or make parts of the statue not visible from far away. So then I decided, let's just leave it open. So I did use the mosaic or the ceramic tiles pretty much everywhere here, but I just left it open so that you can see Aphrodite in her full nude glory. Again, I'm on some kind of list because I've definitely seen at least 50 or 100 Aphrodite statues and paintings. And oh boy, I mean, at least I did my research well. Like for some builds, I don't do any research and I just go into it blindly. For some, I do a lot of research, especially actually the Ethiopian buildings. I did a lot of research into those because I wanted to make sure that they were accurate and to find a style that I liked that could fit in with Kayan al-Bashar. So I already mentioned this when I built the Ethiopian buildings or the Ethiopian style village. But I found a document, I think it's either by some Ethiopian tourist agency or like the government or like the Governmental Institute for Tourism in Ethiopia. But yeah, it's the style that I've used for the Ethiopian style buildings in Kayan al-Bashar is like specific to one region, maybe even one place. So yeah, it was really interesting to find it out. And then like that's serious research. And then you have research into, does Aphrodite in her statues have a vagina, or is she completely Barbie doll smooth? Answer is, she's completely Barbie doll smooth. But anyway, I want to put a question to you guys, which is, which animal should I put with Aphrodite? Because I'm thinking either African penguin, because birds, or clouded leopard, because danger and Aphrodite is definitely a cat person. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, there is a like button. If you want to see more, there's a subscribe button. And there's a notification button, but before that one starts working, Dylan is getting out of that mental hospital. So with that being said, hope all of you have a wonderful day and bye bye.